As we look ahead to the reason we're here today, I'd like you to allow me to do a little bit of level setting. Competitive markets have worked, and markets can continue to work. They have delivered and continue to deliver on several critical areas when it comes to America's energy: reliability, affordability, emissions reductions. And that success has occurred simultaneously with rapid changes to the energy value chain. The shale revolution and low-price natural gas, rapidly falling costs of renewable energy, development and deployment of innovative technologies like battery storage, record low wholesale power prices, shifting state policy goals and ambitions, state and federal subsidies to preferred resources, changing leadership at FERC, and states flexing their policy muscles in both markets and at every level of government. At EPSA, we believe that the optimal energy transition and America's energy future must be built on well-functioning markets and competition. Calls to limit competition or abandon RTOs or revert to a more monopoly-driven approach put us on a backward-looking path, and we can't afford to do that if we want to see continued progress. As the saying goes, the more things change, the more they stay the same, or maybe it's as simple as change is a constant. Whatever your preferred turn of phrase, we can all agree that the entire energy system is under tremendous pressure to change and adapt, and do so more quickly than it has in the past. While there's a lot on today's agenda, and we certainly appreciate you taking time to join us, we do have a lot on the agenda. It's really boiled down to 5 key areas: reliability, innovation, affordability, emissions reductions, and future market design. And for good measure, we thought it'd be a good idea to let you catch your breath over lunch and hear from one of the founding fathers of competitive wholesale power markets, Pat Wood, who can share some perspectives on where we've been, where we are, and where we think we're headed in the future. So let's establish a few common areas of agreement from which to kick off our discussions today. First, reliability is paramount. Consumers of all types expect it, market participants endeavor to deliver it at 100%, and regulators at all levels cannot afford to lose sight of its critical importance or assume it away in their decision-making. Second, affordability is crucial for delivering the results policymakers say that they want. Polling shows that consumers are willing to support changes to the power supply so long as it doesn't significantly impact their wallets. Businesses are committed to ESG targets that they have set, and affordable power makes meeting those goals more achievable and at a lower cost to what consumers will ultimately have to pay. And deploying competitive forces to keep costs down enables that longer runway for deployment of new resources of all kinds. Something that seems like common sense, but many seem to be unwilling to say, is that if we allow costs to get out of proportion to people's ability and willingness to pay, that misalignment will profoundly be detrimental to achieving policy goals that are both being passed and debated today. Markets have historically presented a foundation to allow new and cleaner technologies and resources to enter the market while allowing least cost solutions to win out, while also incentivizing efficiency that leads to lower costs and reduced emissions. Third, emissions reductions and supporting lower emitting resources are the central policy goals that are being debated today and implemented at the state and federal level. This issue is clearly closely tied to affordability. But how do we achieve emissions reductions while preserving reliability and keeping power affordable for all customers? EPSA has presented some ideas, and we look forward to hearing the speakers address some of those questions today. Fourth, policymakers and stakeholders all spend a lot of time arguing about policies and market rules, but in the end, it's the customers who end up paying the costs associated with those policy choices. There's also a question about how investors think about markets and what they deliver, and when to consider investing in the market and looking at how well it's functioning. At the risk of appearing glib, has anyone asked those who actually pay the bills what their priorities are? And what are they willing and able to accept as part of the energy transition? And finally, how do we ensure that sufficient investment flows to enable that transition? Finally, no one argues that the energy landscape isn't changing. Knowing that we all agree with that, the question becomes, how should we think about the future market design, and how can proper market design support high reliability while accommodating an evolving list of market goals that have shifted from merely least cost dispatch? That's a lot to unpack, and we've assembled a great list of industry leaders to discuss these issues, offer some suggestions and observations about how to address them, and perhaps offer a roadmap on how we see the industry evolving over the coming years. You'll be hearing from CEOs and senior leaders of competitive power generators, CEOs of 2 of the RTOs in the middle of this transition, North American Electric Reliability Corporation CEO Jim Robb, thought leaders from FERC, NRDC, consultants, academics, the investment community, and policy wonks who are deep in the weeds on these critical issues and how they impact all stakeholders. To be sure, you're going to hear a lot of information today, and it's our goal that today's discussions be part of the process to advance reality-based policy choices, understand the implications of those choices, and how they affect all stakeholders. Collectively, we all agree that we can work towards ensuring grid reliability as well as the other benefits like affordability and reduced emissions. Again, we're delighted that you've made time to join us today, and we hope that you'll gain some valuable insights about where we are and perhaps more importantly, where we're going. One housekeeping item before we get started. We have a lot packed in, as you just heard.